In today's session, I'm going to explain briefly about a very important concept in Java. Most of the interviews based on this thing only. See, the JDK 8 features are, we call it as Java 8 features. First point is, why Java 8 features are important? Why so much priority to JDK 8 features? Let me explain. So what is the purpose of learning programming? Just to develop applications, that's all. Just for developing the applications, we learn programming. What is the purpose of application? It will store the information and it will process the information. That's all, not more than that. Store the information and process the information. Where we store the information permanently. Just think in application development where we will store the information permanently. Means in the database. In the database, we will store the information in records format. In records format, we will store the data. Okay. Just one sec. I'll show you diagrammatically. Please wait there. See, normally, we store information in a database. This is the database. And here, in a record format, we will store the information. That is a records. Suppose is a banking application, consider account details, account number, account holder name and all. Account number, account holder name, balance in account. So much information is there. This is permanently how we are storing the information. Okay. After storing the information, we need to process that information. So if you want to process information, first fetch the information, fetch information. After fetching the information into the Java program, how you will store the records, into what type of variables you will store the records, into objects. Suppose account class, which contains the variables number, name and balance. Number, name and balance. It will store information in the form of collection of records. Collection of records. Maybe a list, map or anything. Let me take a list collection. List of accounts. We are creating one list and in object format we will store the information. How many records are present? All the records we will store in this format. In this format we will store. Suppose here account number, account holder name, balance. Again account number, account holder name, balance. That information we store in object format. Account number, account holder name, balance. Account number, account holder name, balance. Like this we will store. The information we are storing as a collection. Nothing but as a list we are storing the information. Is perfect. Up to here, okay. Remember the point, every Java developer store the application information permanently in the database, maybe in the database or in the cloud, whatever. In the record format, the data will be stored. This is. Now we need to process. We need to analyze, like data analytics, suppose consider. We need to analyze the data for reports generation. For example, someone asked, after getting the information, you need to generate the reports, or you need to display like in a UI, like with React or with Angular, you need to display the information, proper information you need to display after processing. You will get the data and store into this collection in the form of list of accounts, suppose, as a list of objects we are storing. Okay. Now the question is, after storing the information, collection is ready. Now how you will process? How you will perform calculations on this? Right? Yes, previously collections are there. Previously, list providing so much functionality, so many methods to process. Set is providing so much functionality. Map is providing so much functionality in collections. But the code size increased. The code size increased. That's why for analysis, for analytics, for processing the information, right, in market, Python became famous. Once you get the information, how easily we can process the data? Yes, Python came. How it will process? Python also doing the same thing only. In Python also collections concept is there. List, set, tuple, dictionary. That's all. First, it will store the information into these collection types in Python. Easy way of processing. They introduced a very simple way of processing. But how the Java people allowed Python into their applications? Become opponent, and it became famous, of course. So that is the only reason, just for data processing and just for data analysis, right? For easy way of data processing in Java, everywhere common story. They introduced the concept of JDK 8 or Java 8 features. For .NET, problem for everything. They introduced the concept of link. For JavaScript also, they introduced the concept of ECMAScript, ES6 features. Just opponent of Python collections. First, try to understand what is the purpose of learning JDK 8 features. Only for one reason. Whoever asks, just for data processing. Just for data processing. Before that, for data processing, for data analytics, in the market, Python is there. So as an opponent to that Python, not only Java, in .NET applications also they are using Python. Even for client-side data processing also they are using Python. Because you know that Python is working like client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Then how can we avoid Python from Java, .NET, JavaScript applications? It's a simple one. They have written because they introduced the entire programming language. So simply they can add some features. What are the features? For Java, it's Java 8, JDK 8 features. For .NET, it is called link. For JavaScript, it is called ES6. All are same. All are same. Remember the concept. All programming languages are same. All concepts are same. All the requirement is the same. So what are the features? What are the features? First, let me explain few features. Okay. First one, a very important one. First one, a very important one, introducing default methods in interface. Of course, static methods, static methods in interface they introduced. It is in 7 only. But this one is important. Default methods they introduced in interface. Why I'll explain at the end. First, let me explain default methods in interface. Normally, when you are writing, this is a main, I'm taking one interface test, simply interface test. If I write a method with body, normally you will get error message. Interface abstract methods cannot have body, but they introduced 2 types of methods. Static, of course, static void, just the name I'm giving M1 with a message, a small message, system.out.println, test M1 method. Default methods we defined using a keyword called default, M2. They introduced 2 types of methods. The first one is not that much important. Second one is important. Why? I'll explain. First, the concept I'll explain. Then, what is the purpose of introducing? No, static methods from JDK 7. You can check. Static methods in interface from JDK 7. Suppose if you type similar to default methods, Java 8 permits, see JDK 7. That is JDK 7 feature only. But actually, their intention is different. Their intention of introducing the 8 features in 7 only, but taking time to introduce, how to introduce and all. But no one is using static methods. If you understand the concept of default methods, you will get clarity on this. We never use anywhere. Then why we are learning means in 10 minutes I'll explain. You will get clarity. Static methods and default methods. But default method not by using interface name. See, M1 is okay, but that is not possible. Default. We must implement class something like demo, which is implementing the test. Okay, because can you create object for interface directly? No, not possible. So we create object. Okay, test object. Upcasting, you know that. Upcast. obj dot m2 we call. Using the object name we are accessing. How to access the static methods? Directly with interface name. How to access the default methods? By instantiating the implemented class. By instantiating, nothing but through object only we can access. Through object only we can access. This is what default method actually. My question is, sir, where you use exactly default methods? We never use. Then why we are learning? Let me explain one point. A very easy point. I'll show you collections hierarchy. Collections hierarchy. Wherever it is, no matter. Our concept is a collections hierarchy. Where is gone? Gone. Yes, is the one. Collections hierarchy. Okay. Now the question is, again, back to our concept. What is the purpose of learning all these things? What is the purpose of learning JDK 8 features? Already we discussed that. For data processing only. It should be in your mind when you are learning collections and JDK 8 features, where you will store the information as a collection of objects. Collection of objects means list of employees or a set of students or a map of customers, whatever. How we store information in the Java in object-oriented programming, we store the information as a collection of objects. For that, we use all these collections. Any one collection, no matter. We use collections. That's all that we know. Okay, happy. Now we need to process the data. We need to process the data. So newly they introduce the functionality. They want to introduce some functionality for processing. New feature, no? New feature they need to introduce. Okay. So what are the features? Features means what? Maybe a classes or maybe some methods. Once you store information using all these collections, okay, processing functionality also you need to introduce here only. Suppose they want to add one functionality, any functionality. One example, for each method they want to introduce, just consider stream, one method they want to introduce. Suppose these two functions they want to add. Where they have to add? In list, in queue, of course, methods with body, array list, linked list, vector, stack, array queue, priority queue, hash set, linked hash set, tree set. Everywhere they need to add the body of for each and the body of stream. Sir, why sir everywhere? Why everywhere? Better they add inside the top, inside the iterable they added. Which one? For each with some logic, with some body. Very, very important this is. Stream with some logic. So problem came. They faced one problem. What is the problem? Sir, this is an interface. Iterable is an interface. Right? How you define the methods inside the interface? How you define methods inside the interface? That is not the rule of Java. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. That's why they added the new rule called inside the interface. You can write a methods called default methods with body. Just for introducing some of the methods of JDK 8 features, they introduced the concept of default methods. So inside the interface, you can add the methods. You can add the methods. That is, and you can access default methods with object, just like instance methods only. Because array list object, na? Array list object, linked list object, like array list object dot list dot for each method, list dot stream method. These are the methods they want to introduce. This is object only. What type of methods we access using object? Instance methods. Now default methods also. First point is, first intention is what? Learning for each method and a stream method only. Learning for each method and stream method only. That is the first point. Second point is, for introducing for each method and stream method only, they introduced the concept of default methods in interface. So after learning default methods in interface, no question, sir, where we use in real time exactly? We never use anywhere. We never. They used already. For each method is a default method. Stream method is a default method. Logic is there. Because when you are giving something, when you are giving some input, it will perform some operations, data processing, and it will give you the output. So what you need to learn, remaining all concepts also, not only this one. Method references they introduced, functional interfaces they introduced, lambda expressions they introduced, each and every concept for data processing only. So before going to start learning JDK 8 features, these points you must remember, put it in your mind. We are developing projects with our Java programming knowledge. Okay. It will store the information in database in record formatting. You know that how data will store in database. Perfect. Now we need to process the data. First we have to store somewhere. Where you will store? Collection. Either list or set or map. Anything. Collection only. No other concept to you. In collection only you will store. Perfect. After storing into the collection, now we need to process. Okay, old processing is there. I'll show you the difference, old processing and new processing. Old processing is there, but a huge coding, lot of coding. That's why everyone is saying that Python is easy, go for Python, because with a very little coding we can data processing, we can do data processing quickly, we can analyze the data quickly. And they decided, why can't we introduce that little coding? Yes, they introduced two methods for each method and stream method, where they have to put, because in Python no rule, no extends keyword, no implements keyword, no proper interfaces, no proper structure from top to end. Wherever they can insert, no one will ask. But here in Java, so many rules are there. Billions of applications already developed and running in the market. Without disturbing all those billions of applications, whatever they introduced, properly they should introduce into the Java development kit. Reason is, with one small update, all millions of applications will crash. That's why they introduced default methods in interface before introducing for each and stream. Then later they are saying that, okay, we are writing a for each method in iterable interface. It's a default method, so it will not affect the existing projects. And each and every project old collections logic you can remove and you can implement the new collections logic using for each method and using the stream method. Streaming concept, parallel streaming concept, method references, functional interfaces, lambda expressions, all these things they introduced for only one reason. Okay. The same concept, sir. I'm learning JavaScript ES6 features, ECMAScript features. Same concept only faculty will tell you. Suppose you are .NET developer, sir. I'm learning about a link. Same thing the faculty will explain. Because the concept is the same for everyone. Application development is same for every Java developer, for every .NET developer, UI developer, or Python developer. No matter. It's a common thing. Only the names will change. That's all. Remember the point. Okay. Now. So hope you understood the concept why we are learning. Next one is a functional interface. So what is a functional interface? Normally, static and default methods, any number you can write no matter. Functional interface means normally if you write an interface, suppose interface name is the first. Sorry. We can write any number of abstract methods. There is no rule. Any number of abstract methods you can define. Any number of abstract methods. No error. But functional interface rule is what? An interface which is allowed only one abstract method. If you try to write the second abstract method, you will get error. How can we control? Means using one functional interface annotation. That's all. If you represent this interface is a functional interface, and if you try to write the second method, you will get the error message. Look at this. First is not a functional interface. Multiple non-overriding abstract methods found in interface. Multiple abstract methods found. It allows only one abstract method. If I remove this M2, you will not get any error. Functional interface means, just I'm giving fun. Functional interface means an interface which allows only one abstract method. Only one abstract method. How can we represent? Using annotation called functional interface. Using annotation called functional interface. That is. See, normally three ways. See, try to understand. For every interface implementation class is there. Class second, which is implementing first, so that it has to override the method and just with a message, we are creating the object. Normally, don't give please a second. When you are working with interfaces, always you please provide first only. Sir, why? Try to learn the concepts of upcasting or another concept called loosely coupling. These concepts very, very important before you need to learn Spring Boot and all concepts. Of course, that is our next one. In the next week, I will explain what is a Pojo class, exactly what is the Bean class, what is has a relation, what is constructor injection. Of course, in Core Java only we can learn. So what is that setter injection? What is that upcasting? What is that loosely coupling? These concepts I'll explain in the next coming in the coming workshop. I'll explain all these things. Everyone must learn. Those who are going to learn Spring or Spring Boot, the above concepts very important. If you are good at all these things, it will be very easy. Spring Boot become very easy if you are good at all the above concepts that I'll explain in the next workshop. Don't worry. But see, whenever you are creating object for child, please make it habituate. Give the interface reference and we access simply obj.fun. This is normally if there is an interface. If there is an interface, okay. Normally, what we will do, basic programming knowledge. Every interface must be implemented by one class, and we override the abstract method. We create object for implemented class. We are giving the reference of interface. We access the method. This is basic first one. I'll show you all the three side by side. So the concepts become very easy to you people to understand. This is first way. Second way, what they introduced. Sir, for every interface, if you write the separate class, coding become difficult. Coding become difficult. Reason is what? Where they introduced, I'll show you. There is a button. There is a button. For calculator, 20 buttons if you create, 20 implementations required. Like first button, second button, third button, fourth button. Like buttons they introduced. That's why what they introduced, anonymous implementations they introduced. How many interfaces, no matter. You can implement with a single method. See, interface first. First obj equal to new first. First obj equals to new first. The question is, sir, how can you create? How can you create object for interface? It's illegal. Yes, illegal. You will get error. See, before semicolon, before ending the statement, open brace and close brace. They introduced this concept. This is called anonymous inner class. They introduced anonymous implementations of interface. Inside you will write the body for fun. That's it. How many interfaces are there? Wherever you want to implement, you can implement. Extra name not required. Look at this. Previously second is there. Now second is missing. Directly first. See, just compile and run. No error, same. This one they introduced as a second one. The first one is a normal implementation. Let me show you clearly. Yes. This is normal implementation of interface. Second one, anonymous inner class implementation. Now the third one they introduced lambda expression. Third one they introduced what? Lambda expression. That is. So what is this? Sir, again, I don't want to create object. I don't want to specify this. Right? I don't want to write the what is that access modifier, return type, name and all. Everything they removed. Everything. Just this one also. Everything they removed. That's it. Only arrow. Only arrow. That's all. Run the code. Finish every statement. Of course, you can write in a single statement also like this. If multiple statements are there like this. Sir, only one statement is there. Even braces also not required. Simply they introduce like this. Why those many things? Make it easy, make it easy, make it easy. Yes. Finally, to make the things easy, they introduced this concept. To make the things easy, they introduced this concept. Just for understandability's sake, I'm writing this. Of course, you have to write everything. I'm just writing SOP. That's all. SOP. See, initially, this is. Later for event handling. Event handling means again, we need to understand swings and concepts not required. Introduce this. Finally, if you want to implement an interface, how easy? Just method name. Method name is also not required. Then how it will understand, sir? If you don't write the method name, how it will understand? Because here you need to provide functional interface object reference variable. First OBJ. You must represent the functional interface object reference variable. Okay, now this one. So obviously, it contains only one method. Reason is what? It's a functional interface only. The functional interface always consists only one method. Na? Only one method it consists. So this is the one method contains a method which is not taking any input, giving the body, just one line body calling. That is called lambda expression. Normal implementation become anonymous. Anonymous become lambda expression. See, the code become very small. JDK 8 features means what? Almost the same. Instead of writing tens, not hundreds, just tens lines of code, 8 lines of code, like 15 lines of code, we can simply write in a single line. Just we are writing in a single line. That's all. Okay, na? Please check. Everybody. Hope you understood this. From these three ways, we can learn only lambda expression. Why? Because it is very easy to implement. Yeah, that's it. See, I mean, like what I'm trying to say, remember, initially, if suppose threading is there, multi-threading, run method we override like this. Same thread method, if you want to implement, you can write like this with anonymous. Now you can do like this. Multi-threading concept, you know, let me explain one example. Normally, a multi-threading concept is there. Before, how we did? Creating the thread. Sir, I want to create one thread. How to create the thread class? Like my thread, which is extending from thread class, overriding the run method, sir, because it is interface of runnable. Sir, no. That I'll show you in the comments because that is predefined. No? There is an interface, sir. Runnable interface is there. Inside the runnable interface, run method is there. It's a predefined. We need to override. That we know already. So if you want to implement, suppose, not extends, implementing runnable interface. Runnable interface. So override the run method. Simply with a message, thread. Thread. Generally, how we will do? We are creating object of thread with a runnable interface. Runnable obj equals to new my thread. Directly we can't start runnable. thread na, thread t is equal to, or thread is equal to new thread of runnable object we need to pass. They introduce this. Then start thread dot start. You should be good at all these things. We are creating the thread. Happy. Later what they introduced, sir, why extra class? Every time when you are creating thread unnecessarily, remove everything. Runnable object directly you pass. Obj is equal to new runnable, then write the code here. Public void run method, system.out.println, right here thread. They introduce this concept. Same story. Thread. Sir, again why sir writing here? Again they removed this. Directly here you can create object, new runnable, new runnable, new runnable. Here only you can write. Here only you can write. They introduce this much. They removed this. See, the day by day, the concepts make it easy. Again, what they introduce are again object creation and everything, runnable, everything. No. Remove up to here. Remove up to here. This one also remove. This one also remove. Make it arrow. Make it arrow. New thread. Introduce. Introduce. This one. Here it is. See. First, how many lines of code I have written? Around 10 lines. Then they introduced anonymous. Anonymous now become finally what? Arrow. Now it is trending. Arrow and method references are trending in JDK 8. Once the concept, that is a concept everywhere you can add. Na? So I am just implementing with a multi-threading concept. This is the way. Okay. So everybody, before going to learn JDK 8 features, remaining or easy? Map, filter and all, okay. Today what I have explained, what is the JDK 8, why we are learning JDK 8, and why they introduce the concept of method references, functional interfaces, static and default methods for each and stream method. If all these basics are in your mind, then easily you can understand that, okay, why we are learning the concept of JDK 8. What is the purpose of introducing JDK 8? Why in every company they are asking questions on JDK 8? Why there is no interview without JDK 8? Because application development become easy nowadays. Data analytics, data processing become difficult to everyone. That's why Python introduced. But to avoid the Python in Java applications, they introduced the concept of Java 8. Just the replacement of Python in data processing and data analytics. So they introduced the coding just like Python. Nothing but shortened code they introduced. To introduce the shortened code, they introduced the concept of streaming and for each, lambda expression and functional interfaces. Repeatedly, please listen this video multiple times after completion of this class. A very important questions in interview point of view. You know already how important the JDK 8 is. Okay, na? Hope you understood. Thank you all. Thank you for attending the session. Please don't miss the next week session also, because the Spring Boot before Spring, what all the things required I'm going to explain in the next weekend. Thank you so much.